Well, I mean, since you shook them up before you got here.
Right, and the first guy's got nailed.
Yeah, Peter?
Yeah,
what's up?
This is Jordan.
Hi.
That's
good. Hi.
Hey, nice to
What's your
meet
name
you.
again?
I'm here.
I'm Aaron. Nice to
Great to meet you.
Awesome.
Oh.
The best. So. Yeah. Barely.
Cool.
Nice.
Definitely somebody might want to discuss that. Yeah, we're now or whenever you guys.
Yeah, so, I'm currently.
Is this meetup?
Yep.
Full-time position
Yep.
server.
Yeah.
Very well.
Chris. T-shirts here, over there.
Right now, they
Stickers in the
are
front.
opening
Please
up
help
to
yourselves.
A lot of stickers.
For the right,
Could reach in the zip
yeah,
lock
for
too,
the
see if
right
there's
person
any.
or-
I love it.
or they open for that.
Did you wanna, so I guess,
Or full-time.
here, you wanna sit over here?
Yeah, where would be a good spot?
And then when, I'm gonna do the intro and the admin talk up there, and then when you're ready, then we'll just swap.
Alright, awesome. I might plug this now.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, that's pretty good to do remote and also.
Yeah.
What company do you work?
They do, they're actually public ones. They do master online master.
So other than the one at the Iron Doors, other than, did you go to any others or?
Yeah, other,
That's all
I've been to a couple, yeah, there was one at the Iron Yard and there was a couple before that. I went, somebody was here from like Strong Loop.
Oh, yeah, so that was,
Yeah,
Sounds like a good deal with it.
Shubra Car was, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he was talking about what is there.
Yeah, John.
John, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So you gotta get a little lean stacking, huh?
Yeah, so you're doing that end Drupal? Your,
Maybe
or
make
your
a little transition.
transition, yeah, I was,
medium and
Okay. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
Go check it out.
yeah, that's why I'm here.
I think I may have sent a request on LinkedIn and he just denied it.
I'm sure you get
That's how
called
I'm
all the
with it.
time, but I hate it.
My God, he associated with him.
Slash was here? It was on there.
Who was?
Slash?
Slash?
Guitarist?
Oh, yeah, I think he was, as a matter of fact. I mean, they've had a ton of people.
He was here for
here.
the main meet side.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he's mean.
He does bless us with his presence. They've had like, the president come over.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who else, there's a lot of people here.
It's like when people come through Austin and interested in entrepreneurship.
Right, and then I think like Michael Dell's son, I forgot his name, I think it's Zach. He has or he had a startup that incubated here, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Ton of stuff going on here. There's the president. Soon to be former. It's getting on 7, but I'm gonna wait a few more minutes just to give other people a chance to get here, just like in traffic or whatnot, so. How long do you think you're
I can, it's flexible, I can do a demo at the end and I can go as short or as long as you want it to.
Yeah, one of the things that I was gonna announce too is, I'm not sure if you've heard the Node and is gonna be here in town.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in November, and the Monday before that, they're having, or the Monday of that week, they're having a, do you need something?
Is your Wi-Fi password or?
Oh, yeah, for Wi-Fi, you have to get a card. You have to get I'm not sure if that's unique or not. You can try that one. If it doesn't work, the front desk has others.
Okay, thank you.
So, the Monday, they're gonna have Node together, which is a day-long class
Oh,
teaching
cool.
Node.js development.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's gonna be in this one.
Oh, wow. Is it designed for people who are just getting into Node, or?
I think it's gonna be like beginner to intermediate,
Okay.
and if they find that the class has pretty advanced or intermediate students, they might go to advanced topics
Okay,
and stuff.
cool, cool.
Ashley Williams is the lady, and she actually has gone around the world doing that, and I think they cater to, level up class.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a friend in Wisconsin who does like a Node school meetup there,
Oh, yeah?
and they do like, it sounds like they have like a very wide gap, so they've got like very, very beginners and then very experienced, and so they kind of like pair them up, and so it's been really cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Did it work?
No.
No. Yeah, he took it out.
Nice.
Salesforce, they work with their API, so they can just head each, just do Woot.
Yeah.
Just like,
Do you live up north or do you live?
Well-
Okay. So I can include a little bit.
yeah, can you down here?
Yeah.
They're over on Sydney.
Should have brought some Tessel stickers. Have you ever used those before? They're like these little microcontrollers that you can program with Node.
Oh, nice.
So I'm giving a talk on using that at November.
Oh,
and they
cool.
sent me a bunch of stickers. So.
Nice. Is that in Tennessee still?
Yeah, Nashville.
What week is it?
It's like right before Thanksgiving.
Ah, okay.
Figure out my travel for that.
That's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Busy time of the year, so.
Yeah, there's another team that does.
Yeah, that's, I think they might have like worked with the Node Foundation to see when they were gonna have the Node Interactive stuff here, cause otherwise
Yeah.
it would have overlapped.
Oh, really? That's in November too?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll hit that and be back in time.
JavaScript guys.
Yeah. And we're also doing on Tuesday, I believe, Node School sessions throughout the whole day. They're at, if you attend the Node Interactive conference, then you get to go to that if you want to.
Cool. So, the Node Foundation puts on Node Interactive?
Yeah, that's where you'll find it, as you go to the Linux Foundation. Actually, just go to nodejs.org, and that has it at the bottom.
Like a lot.
So is HomeAway's stack entirely Node, or do they do anything else on the back end?
So the very back end is Java.
Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, the stuff that we're working on.
You guys are too quiet. It's like, only here?
How's it going, man?
All right.
Good.
You know, this isn't the only mean stack meetup tonight.
This is not the only one?
No, there's one over the Node.js is having they're doing a mean stack night.
Oh,
over
that's right,
at
the full
Standing.
stack node development, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Node.js meetup.
They're all full.
Well, they're doing not mean C, basically couch DBS
Oh, okay.
with the rest of the mean stack.
They're at, what is it?
Standing over on
Spanning.
5th and Congress.
Right.
And refresh is tonight too.
Oh, wow, man.
I thought tonight,
was
like Austin JS is supposed to be Thursdays.
Yeah, and I-
Tuesday is refresh.
I skipped out of my girls' spirit night at school because I was doing this. I told them, sorry, and I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff going on. Are you Chris's wife?
No.
No.
Oh,
I
we just walk up together.
I
Oh.
just took the elevator with him.
Okay.
I don't think my wife would really put up with
I'm
going
actually
text back
Aaron's
to you.
best friend.
Okay.
Hi, Monica, nice to meet you.
This escalated quickly.
Don't tell my real wife.
Ah!
Don't tell my
Get
other
me
wife.
together.
Sorry, man. I saw y'all
Just
walking
take
together
over.
and stuff. So. Sorry about that. Did y'all want to get started, or I know there's somebody else that's going to show up. I was going to give her time to get here, but.
Well, she may, I know some people might have gone to the wrong entrance. I didn't.
Oh, really?
But it might have happened to someone else.
Check the meetup page, see if anybody's. And I actually I'm trying to transition over to the JavaScript stack meetup, and so I haven't duplicated, so. I don't know if I'm.
Oh, are we getting rid of the mean stack?
I'm not getting rid of it, but I'm trying to mirror it, because people say mean stack, I don't do mean stack, I just do Node and React or something, you know, so they don't. But I'm a developer, I'm not a marketing dude, so I'm probably screwing it up somehow, you know.
Yeah, there's something about mean people, it just doesn't sound good. Although I like meanies.
That's what I call us in here, so we're Austin meanies. There's other people that call it, like in Virginia, they call it meaners. So, there.
They don't get like full-time but yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was great food.
And it actually. Well, no, they're right.
So how's it going, man?
Is that right?
And it's next.
You getting another guy in the team, or the other one didn't work out?
You have to stay for the presentation to
I'm
find out.
I got myself a plate.
It's not for our team. It's actually for another company.
I thought it. Maybe I read that wrong. I thought you were implying it was HomeAway.
You're like, holding room?
Yeah, no, I'll eventually hear it.
Just finished.
They've been having a hard time getting a senior developer. NodeJs developer. The recruiting company is BrookSource. Guys back there, Jordan and Mitch.
Well, I'm ready.
Cool, so yeah, I'll forward you my contact. No, I
But
didn't.
see,
I think I went to some after I finished,
I
I
have
said.
no. Yeah, so, yeah, I went to school for pre. So for the students, all the support.
On the
Right,
road,
it's like,
that's
they
the only.
just got getting data from one person to another correctly.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
it's
so
a lot of
true.
translation, so,
Yeah.
um,
When did you
Yeah, so,
graduate?
yeah, I think.
May.
I had a couple, I had actually this couple.
So were you front end?
They said,
Yeah.
come on over
And
and
then
talk.
for the night, just
I put a
finish.
few minutes in front of me, and I just talked with them.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, that sounds awesome. I didn't remember.
So,
No, I forward you.
I'll send you my resume.
Yeah, definitely.
I updated it.
I'm like, well, yeah.
That's good.
There's a
Yeah.
Right, there's like all
No, I was
these
telling you that
old people.
my in-law, and that I think that's. John, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Okay, thanks. Somehow managed to where I can have Aaron.
Oh, it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I think someone was back in
I guess we can get started. It's really like past 7, right? 10 after or something. So, welcome everybody. Let me get set up over here real quick. This thing is kind of flimsy too, by the way, so caution. But I'll be careful. It's what we have. So it's good to see some old faces and some new faces. My name is Monico, for those of you that don't know me. I run the Beanstack meetup, and been doing that for a couple of years now. And I just finished up these slides a few minutes ago, so if there's any typos or anything like that, just let me know. I'll be putting these up on the on the website for those of you. I think there's a couple of people that were gonna watch the live stream, and somebody just made me realize that they're not gonna be able to see the picture thing, so the slides will be up there, so anybody that wants to watch and go back and forth between the slides is welcome to. So tonight we're gonna have Aaron, he's gonna talk about his framework and just kind of his involvement and his acquisition, his job acquisition that started kind of with the Mean Stack meetup a couple years ago or a year and a half ago or something like that. So he's gonna do that here in a minute. But first I wanted to go through a couple of quick announcements and some logistics. The first one is, if you guys aren't aware, if you park in the garage downstairs in the basement, you can grab some vouchers from the front desk and you can just pay $5 all night. That's if you park there after 6 p.m. Otherwise, it's going to be regular price. So if you do that, you save a ton of money. Or you grab a meter like I did and just pay like $1 and you're there for all night. So, but if you need the Wi-Fi access, I put it up here too. A couple of people asked. You'll need a card with an access code on it. They use unique IDs for them, and you'll get through the what is it called? The sign-on screen or something like that, and you'll have Wi-Fi access. So, bathrooms are out the door to the left and around the corner from the front desk. So if anybody needs to go to the facilities, there it is. Quick announcement about Node Interactive. That's being run by the Node Foundation. And it's gonna happen November 29th to December 2nd. That's the week right after Thanksgiving. So me and a couple of others from my team, we're gonna be helping with volunteer work, and there's gonna be a Node school session on Tuesday, which is the 29th. It's gonna be an all-day thing, 2 sessions, AM and PM, from beginner to advanced workshoppers. So we are looking for more volunteers. If anybody's interested, just go to the Austin Node School GitHub repo. There's 3 issues that I opened up. One of them is for mentor registration if you're interested. One is for the volunteer for MCing and stuff like that. And then there's another one for, I can't remember what the other one's for, but they're all in there. If you're interested, just go ahead and take a look. And you know, if you do that, there's a slight possibility that you can get a really good discount on the registration for Node Interactive. So it's a really good deal. I am gonna get some codes, some discount codes from them, so I'll be posting those on the Mean Stack meetup page, as well as on Twitter and like LinkedIn and stuff like that. So if anybody's interested, the Monday right before that, so the day before Tuesday, Monday, NodeTogether.org, which is a community educational effort that Ashley Williams, she's one of the Node.js Foundation personnel. She's putting that together. She's been traveling around the world teaching 1-day long classes in Node.js from beginners to advanced, depending on the class makeup. They're gonna have that here that Monday, the 28th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's all day and it's free. And it's gonna be in this classroom here. So I've already booked the room for that. So if you're interested in that, like if you're new to Node or want to learn some more about it, please come by or go to that website and keep updated as far as where to register and things like that. So,
In other Node conferences, if that's your thing, November is in Memphis,
Right.
November 20th and 21st.
I think that's the week right before Thanksgiving. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yeah,
Because Aaron's
sounds
gonna
about
do a
right.
presentation. So that's one thing that I didn't put on there, but thanks for mentioning that, Chris. November, which, like he said, is gonna be in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's the week right before Thanksgiving. So, NodeTogether.org, we're also looking for some, I can't remember how many are left. There's some slots that are left, but they are looking for volunteers for that as well. So just keep an eye on that repo on GitHub, and or just get with me and I'll let you know. So, and you know, that's that. Last announcement is that the Mean Stack meetups, these meetups, we're gonna start holding them pretty consistently. We don't do them every month, but we do them like every other month-ish. We're gonna start holding them at the homeway.com at the domain. So that's the company that I'm contracting with right now. And I got invited, or I got asked if we'd be interested in doing that, just to kind of get HomeAway more into the community and stuff like that. So we're gonna be doing that. It's a really cool venue there. Maybe we'll do a tour like I did for IBM Design Studios. So we can do something like that. I'll just get permission to do that. So I'm gonna thank the sponsors here. Without the sponsors, you know, we couldn't do a lot of this stuff. The venue, Capital Factory, again, thank you so much. Paula, I think she left already, but she's the lady that kind of fixes all the chairs and stuff for us and reserves the room for us. So thank you so much for that. Food and drinks, Enola Labs I put a picture up already on the meetup page. Sean Killing from Innovo Labs, they provided the pizza and the drinks back there for us. So thank you for that.
Is there a random thing? Do you know where the pizza came from? The boxes all say Venmo.
Venmo? Oh,
Venmo's the payment
Really?
app, but like there's not discernible.
Oh, I don't-
Response.
I have no idea. Did anybody have some already?
I've got some.
Are you feeling sick?
If it is.
You still feel okay? You're not sick or anything? Getting nauseous or anything? No. Actually, I
I
don't
mean, they
know.
were here when he got here, so.
Yeah. So, I don't know where they got them from, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? Chris, cut it out. No. But Sean is the guy that delivered them for us. So thank you so much, Sean. They are hiring. You have a link there to the company, but they have a careers.innovolabs.com. They're hiring they do like mobile, business architecture integration, big data, and web. So please go out there and take a look. Help us pay the bills by going to our sponsors' sites and stuff. So great guys. So t-shirts, there's some in the back. The new-ish Austin Mean Stack Meetup t-shirts are in the back. They're sponsored by Austin Fraser. It's another company that I work closely with. Like 6 months ago, I think, they said, hey, we want to sponsor you with t-shirts. So they like bought us like 50 t-shirts and put a nice design on them and stuff. So please grab
What
one.
do they do?
What's that?
What does Austin Fraser do?
They're a recruiting company. So they hire for web development, Node, .NET, different types of things. So, and I think it's just austinfraser.com. So, but Brooksource, these guys are back there. They're providing us with gifts and swag, and there's a little more than a handful of us in here. So, I usually do the door prizes thing with the tickets, the red tickets, where you take one, you drop the other one in the bucket, and do it that way. I think I might actually have to do that because there's too many of us. But they brought us some nice. The framework that Aaron wrote is called Perk. So they brought us some stuff that's kind of related to the word perk. Starbucks stuff for you. So thank you so much for that. And I wanted to find out if either one of you wanted to say a few words about openings or anything like that.
Yeah,
You
sure.
want to come up and say something?
We are similar to Austin Fraser. We're also a recruiting company here in Austin. Development, I take a step back. The 3 areas that we hire the most or see the most demand for here in Austin. Development for sure. Anything full stack, mobile, web-based, front end, back end, the whole deal. Everybody's hiring for that stuff. And then infrastructure, so like PMs and BAs. But that's not necessarily you guys. So if any of you guys are actively looking in 3 months, 6 months, whatever, or want to get your resume out there, get some feedback on should I have this in my resume, should I have this, feel free to let us know. Jordan's one of our senior peers here, so she can help you out. Yeah, we're back here for questions too if you guys have anything for us.
Yeah, and I'll vouch for these guys. They're awesome to work with. They treat us really well. They're the guys that I work for them, and they contract me out to HomeAway. So me along with 2 other people on my team. So they're really awesome, cool folks. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So just real quick, I wanted to do a lightning talk. I'm trying to do these at the beginning, trying to copy Brian. I'm not sure if you guys know Brian from the Bleeding Edge Web meetup, but he does that. So he has some awesome stuff. Mine is kind of okay. But what I was going to talk about today was just development, Node.js specifically, development at HomeAway.com. What it's like, what it takes to kind of make it on those kinds of teams, and just what I've experienced the last, I think I've been there, 5 months now, 6 months, something like that. So it's been almost half a year. So quick disclaimer, the comments, philosophies, and things that you're about to hear they're not being sponsored or endorsed by HomeAway. They're all of mine. So, but it's because I'm working with them that I wanted to kind of share some stuff without giving out too much because, proprietary secrets and stuff like that. So, but anyway, that's just a disclaimer that none of this is from them. It's all from me. So everybody just be aware. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was actually building the not team building, but building a development team. And Amir knows a lot about this because he used to work for a company that kind of did that and wrote some blogs or blog articles about it. So, and a lot of this is going to hit on some of the stuff that Amir's talked about before in the past in his blogs. But one of the things that I typically like to do is aside from having like the recruiting company text screen the candidates and stuff like that, I actually either remotely through like Collab Edit or something like that, pair up and screen folks by working with them, like going through some JavaScript drills or Node.js drills or something like that. I prefer to do it in person if I can, which I've done in the past. The last couple of them have been remote over the phone. So that works out pretty well too, but that's one of the things that I've always found helps out a lot, because if somebody has a ton of stuff on their resume that they're good at this, good at that, and yada, 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 the proof is actually in the pudding, right? So when you're actually working together and pairing up, and I always tell candidates, please don't get nervous. I'm not like gonna trick question you or anything like that. It's just, it's just, just to find out how you work with others, what technical skills you have, and what soft skills you have too. So it's worked out really well. And even for the folks that don't get picked for the roles, I always keep, and this is a two-way street, right? But I always keep we part well. We don't like part badly or anything like that. So we keep a professional relationship and stuff. And that's part of the face-to-face parallel that I do. So I try to kind of help them relax that way. Along with that, face-to-face interviews, at HomeAway, any permanent placement is gonna be interviewed really intensely through I think they have like a board or panel interview. We don't do that for contractors because contracting is a lot easier to kind of part ways if you have to. But I still like to bring people in and face-to-face interview them myself, asking them not just tech questions, but asking soft skills questions, how do you work with other people? How do you resolve conflicts and things like that? But more towards what the team is gearing up for. So, and then of course I bring the rest of the team in, and we all together ask them kind of like a panel interview, but a little less formal. We all ask them questions in the room and stuff like that. So, and then our manager, sometimes he'll come and visit just to kind of say hi and stuff, so just to see how people react and stuff. So I guess the key idea here is to bring somebody into the venue or the company, the building, and interact with them is part of the key, in a relaxed atmosphere versus, put them under a spotlight and ask them questions and try to trick them and stuff like that. So. The other thing that we look for is community involvement like this. So people that go to meetups, get involved, talk to other people, interact, network, and stuff like that. And also, of course, the social coding aspect of it, right? See if people are on GitHub or Bitbucket or something like that, and not necessarily contributing to like hardcore projects like Node.js itself, but just doing something out there. Even if you have junk code out there, which is what I have. I have a bunch of junk repos out there that I work with. People notice that, and I notice that, whenever I'm interviewing candidates. So that's important to us. Example, Julia, I don't think she's here, she was gonna be here, but and Ian are the two developers that we hired for the team that I'm on. So I'm the unofficial tech lead for that team, and I kind of use this process to screen them along with other candidates that we had. So worked out really well, and again, the proof is in the pudding. We're working really well right now together. So another aspect of development at HomeAway is the concept of inner source development. We all know what open source development is, right? You go out there, you contribute to GitHub repos, and you have your GitHub repos, and people submit PRs to you, and you land them and whatnot. Inner source development is that same concept, except it's intrinsic to the company. It's not public. It's inside the company. And for instance, so that's the open source-ish software concept. We have a bunch of different projects that different teams. We have one giant UI core development team, and then sub-teams from that. So the sub-teams provide like different components that we use. For example, a website that we're working on. We need like a sign-on screen or something. Some other team would have developed that component for login or something like that. We do that through enterprise GitHub, which is internal to HomeAway. And then we submit PRs if there's anything that we feel like needs to be changed, but they just don't have the time for it. And they land them if and when it passes code reviews and stuff like that. So that's the concept that we use there at HomeAway. And it works out pretty well. We're still kind of trying to streamline it a little bit. So it's a work in progress, just like anything else, but it works really well in my opinion, and I like that at HomeAway. So I'm not sure, does anybody work for a company that does this, where it's open source but it's inside the company? No? No? You do? Kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
So, you're at Trello, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'm not gonna steal your thunder, so but so, and the shared responsibility to maintain the code, of course, that goes with, like there's this one component that I was trying to use, it was a search component, and I needed to hide one of the fields on there but the component had all fields and no option to get rid of them. So I asked the guys if they could fix that for us. They don't have the time because they're busy, so I submitted a PR. And they haven't landed it or anything because we're kind of changing things around with that, but that's kind of the idea. We share the responsibility of maintaining the code base for everybody, so that we all can work together. So, and that's another one of the examples that I was going to mention is there's a Google Maps component. They call them stabs there. It stands for static asset boilerplate, and that's another PR that I submitted. So. Another aspect of the team that I'm on, and I see this on other teams at HomeAway too, is the balancing act between getting stuff done, GSD, right? Getting S $! Done, and app crafting. App crafting being doing it the best, the right way to where you're actually, developing code and not just hacking away at stuff. So. The idea here is for the lead, I'm the unofficial lead for our team. I keep my finger on the pulse of the stakeholders and our external clients and just things in general, as well as the team itself and our manager to see what's going on and see where they're leaning towards, because this is all dynamic. It's not always the same. For instance, if that Google Maps component that I mentioned just a minute ago, if it needs to be tweaked somehow for the UI, for better marketing, whatever it may be, but there's no way to fix it the right way, but there's a way to hack at it to just get it done, then we'll probably just get it done in the short run and then get back to that later in our, we put it in our backlog and get it done later on. So that's the idea of, keeping your finger on the pulse of these guys and different teams and stuff like that. So, and also being able to make your peace with that. So there's a lot of developers out there. As developers, we tend to be introverted is not the word I'm looking for, but we tend to be temperamental, right? Something doesn't work, we get mad, we throw a fit, and it needs to work. We try to get it done the best way because it's our craft, right? So in order to work in a realistic team that's getting stuff done and selling a product or a service, we need to make our peace with foregoing the best, rightest way to get something done and just get it done in the short term, like I mentioned, and then later on fixing it the best way possible. And sometimes, unfortunately, it gets grandfathered in or it gets deprecated or whatever it may be, and you never get to fix it. So you just have to kind of make your peace with that. So be a little more realistic that way. So the current project that I'm on is NodeSLP project. It's an SEO project, basically, and all of this is what we're balancing in that project as well. So what does it take to be technically proficient at HomeAway? One of the things that I just alluded to was the idea that I always tell people is you have to be a jack of all trades, but a master of one or two or a few. You can't not do something because you were hired to be noticed. And if there's like a Java piece of code that you have to sift through, you have to be able to do that best you can. As long as it's something that you're kind of familiar with, you have to be able to spread your wings a little bit from that standpoint. So. And you have to be able to and have the motivation to learn new things. I don't know React. I've never used React. I've delved into it from an academic standpoint, but we're moving at HomeAway to React right now. And so that's something that I have to pick up and learn as fast as I can. Whether it's React, which is public or open, or something that's proprietary. So there's a lot of technologies at HomeAway and other companies that are proprietary that you have to get up to speed with as fast as possible. So, and of course, you have to be able to work with other people. I've met candidates that, and my wife is kind of like this, I've met candidates that, she's a front-end developer, designer, that would prefer to just get requirements and then just let them go to the corner, work on it, and they'll deliver like in a few days or something. That's not the way we work at HomeAway. So I'm sure there's companies that do that, but at HomeAway you have to be able to pair up with somebody and work with them and solve problems that way. So be able to mentor other people as well as be mentored. So kind of that servant leader mentality. So I've never used handlebars or backbone before my position there, and I just had to catch up and learn it, for the things I needed to do. So. And last note is be able to delve into all aspects, that is all layers of the web application stack. So you can't just say, I'm a front-end developer, therefore I only work on that. If that's a back-end thing, sorry, I'm not going to do it. So to succeed at HomeAway, you have to be able to delve into the different stacks, or the different layers of the stack, so. And that's that. Thank you so much. That's my my relatively new Twitter handle there, JavaScript Stack. I have them cross-referenced with the mean stack jobs one, as well as my CDN admin, I think is what it was. And that's my LinkedIn. But if you go to my website, collaborator.net, you'll see all my social links there, of course. So with that, I am going to hand the floor over to Mr. Aaron Larner here, and he's going to talk about what he's going to talk about. So.
Go for it, man.
Hi everyone, how's it going?
That's all right.
Good. Let's see if this works. All right, so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my experience with the MeanStack meetup here and my path to where I am now, which includes a Node framework in quotes, which I'll talk about towards the end. But before I get into any of that, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Aaron Larner. I am a JavaScript developer, a former PHP developer. I used to work at a coding boot camp teaching front-end development, and now I work at a company called Trello, where I work on their internal tools team. So we have a small enough room, I figured maybe we could like go around and everyone say a little bit about themselves, and most importantly, like what you're interested in related to Node, or anything that you think that I could talk about that would be interesting to you today. Otherwise, I'll stick to my main plan. So, you want to start?
Hi, I'm Chris. I work at Walmart Labs, basically doing back-end RESTful services in Node. I'm happy to hear
Cool.
about Perk.
Yeah, awesome, thanks.
My name is John Kirklis, and I've been just looking at opportunities to get up to speed on the mean stack, and that's why I'm here.
Cool, you're welcome.
I'm John Marlette. I'm a junior web developer, mostly self-taught, and I really like functional JavaScript, so I started out in the front end mostly, but now that I'm getting into Node and particularly Angular and Angular 2, I'm basically looking to do application engineering.
Cool.
My name is Gus. I work mostly, I guess, with mobile apps, and I'm kind of interested in how to leverage MeanStack and Node.js in that context.
Cool, yeah, welcome.
Hi, I'm Whitney. I actually went to the coding boot camp that Aaron taught at, and I was in the front end course. And now I am looking for a job, and I'm always trying to keep up with everything new that's happening, and like try to learn, Node and stuff that I'm not too familiar with, and trying to always make sure I have a good foundation of the basics. So I'm always kind of torn between that. But I'm really excited about Aaron's Perk framework, or inputs.
I'm also one of his former students, so we're so loyal. And I use Perk framework for my final project, and really like how that could turn me from a front-end person to doing a little bit of everything. It made it so easy. However, over the summer, as I try to go back and where I struggled and fill in the gaps that I had, I'm now returning to Perk, and I followed his video reel, which is really great. So I'm trying to keep, return to Perk and do more stuff with it. Actually, I just thought it was about twerking.
I'm Mark, and I'm a full stack PHP Drupal type of guy, open source. Doing a project right now for the University of Texas, but I'm also doing a semester of immersive health IT, which is technology into the healthcare arena. and doing some data science. So I'm needing bigger databases and a lot more power, so I'm looking into Mongo, and I want to see the Angular, the whole front end JavaScript family on the front end, and check that out. I think I'm gonna need it.
Cool.
I'm Chris, kind of self-taught, mostly with C++, and then I started web stuff beginning of the year. Went to Maker Square, finished that beginning of the year. Been working contract job, finishing that up. Really love React. That's what I work on constantly. Lots of little projects.
Cool. Welcome.
So I'm Amir. I'm a full stack developer. Done pretty much everything from Java to C to JavaScript. Pretty heavy duty functional guy lately. So.
You created a framework, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I created a framework called FRHTP, which is a functional reactive way to do routes. So you can basically just a 2-second kind of 30,000 foot view. You basically watch data, and as data transforms, you can have things happen to that data based on its shape.
Cool.
Sorry, what was that called?
FRHTP.
It's on GitHub.
Oh.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to tell you a little bit about my experience with the mean stack. So on the road to building Perk, I moved to Austin in 2014, and I was working on my own startup at the time. And as that was kind of winding down, I was looking for jobs. I was exploring more of the meetup scene here, and I got introduced to the mean stack meetup and got on the email list. And I dug up this email, which was kind of like I don't know, an offer to join a coding boot camp. And I'm like, well, you know, I already know how to code, but I think it would be really cool to teach it. It was something I was always interested in. And so the mean stack kind of introduced me to the Iron Yard, which is where I applied and ended up getting a job there. So it was really cool, success story. And so I sent them this email, and I had no idea, but when I was applying for the job, I was already thinking about building a Node framework. And the one that I described here ended up scrapping it because it wasn't exactly what I envisioned, and I kind of realized I was solving a problem that didn't exist. And so what really introduced me as I was doing more and more Node development, especially teaching it, was really introduced me to a lot of the problems that developers run into when they're working on frameworks. And so I taught at the Iron Yard. I was teaching the front end course, but I wanted to expose students to different back-end technologies so that on their projects they would be able to accomplish more and store persistent data and all sorts of stuff like that. And so I tried a lot of different things. My first class, we learned Sails. Is anyone familiar with Sails, the framework? A little bit. It's built by this really cool team that's actually based in Austin. It's kind of like the Rails equivalent for Node. And so we used that. The next 2 classes that I taught, we used Parse, so there was no strict back-end programming. We used kind of back-end as a service type systems. And then for the following, and for my last class, I was frustrated with all the tools I had used so far. And a lot of those frustrations came through my students. As a developer, you learn to kind of figure out all of these places you get stuck and maybe tweak things to your liking. But as a beginner, it's a lot harder to know how do if my server is slowing down to a crawl, how do I deal with that problem? Or if I can't get my Sass to compile, how do I deal with that? And so I recognized my students kept running into a lot of similar problems, and I started working on a solution to help them. And so the core foundation for what I wanted to build was based on 3 different beliefs of mine. One was that programming should be fun and relaxing, and a lot of the frameworks that I used were like, I was tense the whole time because I'd run into some problem, I wouldn't be able to solve it, I'd go search the documentation, it would be like 2 versions out of date, and then I'd go to Stack Overflow and I'd get some answers and maybe eventually be able to figure it out, or I'd have to delve into the code and try and figure out what this massive code base was actually doing. And so that was one thing like I really wanted to avoid, was like the frustration and the level of being tense that comes with I think a lot of the open source tools. And it's like no fault of their own, people are doing this in their free time, they're not getting paid, and so it makes sense that some things slip by and it doesn't stay up to date or whatever. But that was kind of like my primary belief. And kind of drawing from that was good tools should have good documentation. And I actually, of the 1.5 or 2 years that I had been working on Perk, most of that time that I spent was writing documentation, and it was learning how to write good documentation. It was less coding than it was actually writing, which I thought was very interesting, and my experience in teaching really helped with that, because as a teacher I would write all sorts of different like homework assignments and whatever, guides and step-by-step tutorials, and I think there's definitely a skill that comes with kind of empathizing with your reader and understanding what hiccups they might run into and kind of preempting those. And the last piece was stability over features. And so Perk, my goal was not to like use the flashiest, newest technology necessarily, but I didn't want it to be changing every month, every 2 months. There's a lot of JavaScript fatigue out there where people are tired of having to learn something new so frequently, which like I don't necessarily have that problem. I kind of nerd out about it, but when I'm building, when I'm deciding which tools to use for a big project, I want to make sure that they're going to be around a year, 2 years, 3 years more from now, and they're going to continue to be supported. And so that's kind of the lens I was looking through when I decided to build this. And so it's kind of a hard place to be if you're trying to build something new, but you don't want to contribute to that JavaScript fatigue and tell everybody to learn something entirely new, right? And so my approach to that was to kind of just fill in some of the gaps where I saw and not necessarily build something entirely new, and that's why I say framework in quotes. So Perk is built on top of Passport, which is user authentication, Express, which is the E in mean, Redis, which it uses for session management, and Connects, which is a really awesome database connection library. If you use like maybe SQLize or something else that's similar to that. One of the most popular ones out there. And so as I kind of had my own journey as I was like learning Node. I started off about 4 years ago with Express, where I think a lot of people started. It's one of the most popular Node servers. And I, coming from like a PHP background, I was kind of frustrated with like the lack of built-in functionality. It was very bare bones. And so eventually I switched over. I used Sails for a long time. I tried out Mern and the mean.io and like all of these other different Node frameworks. And what I learned from using the more like full-featured frameworks was that I was kind of missed the simplicity of Express, and I missed the flexibility that came with it. It's super easy to pick and choose which libraries you want to use, whereas if you're using a more full-featured framework, you're kind of locked into the decisions that they've made. And so when I made these decisions, I was kind of like, all right, what is the best thing I can find for this piece of my stack, whether it's the user authentication or the web server or the database connection. And so these were the best ones that I found. And I kind of pulled them all together and then filled in a bunch of the pieces that I thought were missing from the ecosystem. And so that included user authentication, not something I want to rebuild for every new project. The database connection library, the configuration system, something that's flexible and easy to get up and running with. Doing error handling, setting up a front-end tool chain that could, compile my front-end assets like my SAS files or my ES6 to ES5 or my JSX if I'm using React. But kind of the most important part was writing the documentation and making sure that people could actually use this, and if they ran into a problem, there would be a place for them to find the answer to that. So I've got a video tutorial series that I'm working on, and this is, it's Perk flavored, but it's really learning how to write Node using Express. And again, a lot of the documentation, it's somewhat specific to the framework, but I get like a ton of traffic I have a section on the site that's like, here are some common errors you might run into. And like a lot of them are people just Googling it because they ran into it using some other framework or other system. Okay, so I thought I'd give a little demo. Any questions about? Yeah.
When is video 6 coming up?
When I have time to record it.
When is the next Game of Thrones? How long have you been writing that last book?
All right.
No pressure.
I don't have a strict time on that. I was trying to do one every week, but I fell off the bandwagon.
In any of your documentation or whatnot, do you have any kind of section that involves with like alternatives? So you said you've chosen these 3 or 4 different components to kind of build your framework.
Yeah.
Do you have like kind of trade-offs of what you didn't choose or other ones?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That is something I should add. I don't have that.
Something to consider.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. One thing that I do have in there is like, all right, if you don't like this particular decision I made, here's how you switch it out. So like, for example, the templating engine, it defaults to EJS, but if you want to switch it out for something else, here are the instructions for how to do that.
Yeah, because I mean, anyone who's going to goes through the trouble of writing a framework, you're going to have, hopefully you have a lot of opinions on why you wouldn't, what you don't like about something, and that's useful for other people who are going through this whole process.
Yeah. And I think for me, the 2 big things to answer your question, it's not, I mean, it's kind of written on the website. It's not necessarily like the technical decisions that different libraries chose, and it's more how well supported they are and how good their documentation is. So those are kind of the two big things for me. All right, cool. So I'm gonna show you a quick demo here, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try and demo some of the different features apart from what Passport, Express, Redis, and Connects can do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is you can install Perk on the command line, npm install -g perk-cli. That's the command line tool, which I've already done. So I'm gonna use that command Perk, and then I can just decide where I want my project to go. So I'm gonna call this main projects.
So before you go any further, can you give us a little insight as to why you called it Perk?
It is an acronym, so for Passport, Express, Redis, and Connects.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I should have said that.
Is that why you chose those other tools?
That's why,
It's
literally like Mongo, but it doesn't work.
I really like the name Perk, and so I tried to find some.
There you go. That's how I choose my technology.
Yeah, based on what cool acronym you can make.
Right.
All right. Cool. So this is gonna just like bootstrap my project directory. And did anyone hear that Facebook came out with their like NPM competitor today?
Yet another alternative to NPM.
Yeah, exactly. So I was playing around with it like trying to install Perk because there's a lot of stuff in there, and I never want to npm install in front of an audience because there's like a long lag time. But we're gonna try anyway. I ran npm install, it took about 45 seconds. I ran yarn, it also took about 45 seconds the first time I did it, but one of its big things is caching the modules that you download. So the second time I ran it, it didn't have to download anything. It took about 25 seconds. We'll see, it tells you how long it takes. So yarn is the replacement for npm install.
Yeah, they have some like nice aliases for the npm install package name.
Yeah, another nice thing.
Does it still use the NPM repos though?
It does, yeah. It's still hooked up to the npm repo, so you get all of the packages. It's just the command line tool. So you saw like fetching packages just flash real quickly because it's already downloaded all of those packages. It still has to compile all the binary stuff. And 35 seconds. So we shaved about 10 seconds off the install time, which isn't bad. So that is like the very basic setup. I'm going to start off, I'm going to create a database here. I'm using Postgres, but any relational database works. It connects, has drivers for Oracle and MS SQL and SQLite and MySQL and MariaDB, any relational database that you would want. So main projects. And then I'm going to run npm run dev, which will boot up my dev server. And one of the things that I wanted to do was make it super easy for you to get up and running and to get your configuration set up. So this is kind of a configurable configuration screen. And so if a new developer downloads your project from GitHub, the first time they run npm run dev, this screen is going to appear. They can fill in their info. And for each field, there's a little description. So I'm using Postgres. I'm going to type in PG. My host is localhost. My user is A Larner. I don't think I have a password, so I'm going to do Control-R. That'll remove that field. My database, what did I call it? Mean projects. And this is the secrets that's used to encrypt my session, so I'll just put in some random gibberish there. I can do Control-S, and that will save that configuration file so that if I run npm run dev again, it just will boot up my server and not ask me for that info anymore. So let's take a look. If I go to localhost 3000, it gives me kind of like just a generic boilerplate page with a link to the documentation. So that's cool. I wanted to show a quick demo of the user authentication, which you get out of the box. And so this isn't going to work when I first do it, but I'll explain why. So if I go to /auth/register, this is a built-in route that you can remove if you want to, or restyle or change any way you want. But I'm going to try and register a new user here. So it gives me an error. It says, unknown error occurred. Basically, relation users doesn't exist. My database table doesn't exist. So Connects is really cool. It's got a nice command line environment to it. Here's my project. So I can type connects migrate latest, and that's going to run the migration files that'll set up those database tables for me. And so if I go back here and try this again, I am able to successfully register my user. So the user authentication system is pretty bare bones right now. You can register, log in, log out. I'm working on things like password recovery and a more like administrative dashboard where you can create accounts for other users. And
was there a generic Perk schema that's?
There is, yeah. Let me show that to you.
Perk just knows what you want.
Yeah, it knows exactly what you want.
Or Connects does.
So yeah, so this is, I apologize, this is super small. Let me see if I can,
That goes off the screen now.
oh,
I can see it just fine.
is that all right?
Sit back front.
Is that a little bit better? Okay. Yeah. So this is modeled after like your basic Express application. So if you use the Express command line tool, that's like where I started. And I've added a couple other directories here. One of those is config. And so you'll see these are like the default config files. There's one for authentication. The one that was created when we, how do I get out of here? The one that was created when we ran the npm run dev for the first time is this one, which you can see just mimics that structure that we filled in there. And this template here describes what fields that screen should have. So if your project needs like an AWS secret key in order to interact with their API, you can add that field here. Then any other dev who's trying to contribute, when they install, they're going to be asked for that field as well. So configuration, there's an errors directory here where you can list out error messages, and there's kind of like a built-in error handling system where I can send those either back as an API response or as through the session to like another page. And then to get to your question, migrations here, there are two migrations to begin with. Those are Connects migrations, and you can see they define the schema for the table. So this is your user record. It's pretty bare bones, just a first name, last name, email. And then there's a authentication table, so a user can have multiple different ways of authenticating if you choose. And so Passport is hooked into this, so if you're trying to log in or provide Facebook login or Twitter login or whatever, that is just a configuration. So there's really no code involved in that. You just can, in your auth configuration here, fill in the client ID, the secret, the scope that you want to request access for, where they should go after they successfully log in, and what email is required. So that's a nice piece, not having to deal with like hooking in Passport into your existing application. Models here is there's a library called Bookshelf, which is an ORM that's built on top of Connects. Also really nice, modeled after Backbone models, and so you can it's basically a way of interacting with your database, not through SQL, but through modifying objects and saving them to the database. So that's kind of like a basic directory structure. We can maybe install a couple things here. So I'm going to yarn add, which is the alias for npm install -- save, and I'm going to get React something called Bookshelf API, which will turn our Bookshelf models into an API, and this library called HowHapFetch, which it's just an Ajax library on the front end. So let's grab those.
Is that a polyfill for fetch or?
Kind of. It's built on top of GitHub's polyfill. Yeah, exactly. But I tweaked it a little bit to make the API slightly nicer. All right, so we've got those libraries. I'm going to show you how we can turn our existing models into an API. So I've got my routes directory here, which you all might be familiar with. It's the same that you get with Express. There are a couple routes that are in here out of the box, and one of them is called API1. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say let API equal acquire Bookshelf API, and here I'm going to pass in the path to my models directory, so it knows which models I'm going to be using to build my API. So that's just /models like that. And then I can say router.use API. And so router, or the bookshelf API is just a set of middleware that's going to look at the path and determine what, and the request type and determine what to do. And so it's going to set up that API for you. And I'm just going to hook that into the routes in my app.js file. So here, actually, that's commented out. So I'll just comment that, and I'll say API equals require routes/API1 was the name of that file. So this will just hook up that route. So now I should be able to go to /API/v1/user, and that's going to give me the user record. And so any model that I've defined, this is basically putting an API layer on top of that. Now, I probably don't want to expose all of my users via an API. The spammers will get those email addresses and go to town. So we can do things like just adding a little bit of middleware in between. Let's say logged in. If I go to lib/middleware/logged in, this is a little bit of middleware that comes with Perk that's basically just going to validate and ensure that the user's logged in and throw an error otherwise. And so I could put another route here. So let's say if I make a GET request to /user, I want to make sure that they're logged in first, and if they are, then show them the API. And so hopefully, I don't know if I'm logged in. I think I'm logged in right now. So let's go to auth/logout. And now if I go to my user endpoint, it's going to tell me I have to be logged in order to access that. So it's actually quite flexible. The thing I really like about Express and this model of just adding middleware on top of it is that if I need some more complicated route, which usually you do when you're building an API, you're not going to be able, you're not just going to want to fetch the whole list of users. You can kind of add that in a la carte and define your own SQL queries, or interact with the ORM in whatever way you want. So it still leaves you the flexibility to customize this however you want and write more complicated code if necessary, but it gives you a nice place to start. Cool. I'm going to demo. Let's add a new model to our API. So I can say connects, migrate, make. I'm going to make a model called projects, or I'm sorry, a new database table called projects. So connects is going to create a new file in the migrations directory, and I can define what I want that table to look like. So in migrations here, got projects, and I'm going to copy most of the users here, but call them projects instead. And my project is going to have maybe a name and a URL and a user ID. And my user ID, I'm going to want to associate with my users table. There's an example of that here. So this authentication is associated with the user. I'm just going to copy this code. I'll explain quickly what it does. So each one of these lines here is modifying the database table that I want to create. So I'm adding an auto increment ID field, created at, updated at, deleted at columns, and then a name and a URL, which are both strings. And then finally this user ID column, which is an integer. And basically it's saying this column references the ID column in my user table. And so that's the way we can connect these two different tables. And I think that's all we need. So now I can run connects migrate latest, and that will actually run that migration on my database. So I should now have that database table.
You're on delete there. Is that deleting? If you delete the project, it deletes the user, or the user delete the project?
That is a good question. This is if I delete the user, it will delete the project. Yeah. Pretty sure about that. Okay. So now I should have my endpoint for a project. Oh, nope. I need to define a model. And so you'll notice I have these models that are pre-built for the user and the authentication. I need to create one for my project. And I'm going to model it after this authentication table. So I just need to specify the name of it. I'm just going to call it project. The table name that it hooks up to, which is projects. And this right here is associating my model with the user's model. And I'll show you why this is useful in a second. So hopefully now I can get my empty list of projects. There's nothing in there right now. All right. So I'd like, if I make a post request to my projects, it's first going to check and make sure that the user's logged in. I don't want anyone to be able to create a project if they're not logged in. And the second thing it's going to do is it's going to automatically associate that logged in user with the project. So it's going to insert into that user ID column that I created in my migration. And so in order to do that, I'm going to create another small piece of middleware here. I'm going to call it like maybe add user. And this is going to be a really simple piece of middleware. It's going to take my request, my response, and then this next callback. And I'm just going to modify the request slightly. So I'm going to say rec.body.userid should equal rec.user.id. Okay, so rec.user.id is the user ID of the logged in user. Rec.body.user is the data that I'm trying to send to my API endpoint. So I'm saying, hey, before you actually insert this into the database, I'm going to sneak this one other piece of information in there, which is my user ID, my logged in user. And then I'm going to call next to say, okay, do whatever you were going to do.
As a curiosity, I haven't really messed with Express in a while. In your documentation and tutorial, do you kind of break down that what the Express flow is through where middleware falls into
Yeah. So there is, I believe there is a guide on that. So I break the documentation into 3 parts: guides, like the API docs, and then common errors, and then there's also a video tutorial section. So
I'm using Happy. I don't know anything about middleware anymore.
Yeah. So there's a piece of documentation on how that all works. Cool. So basically, this middleware is just a function that's going to run before my route runs. And so I'm going to hook that up in my API file. Let's require it. Let add user. Cool. And then I'm going to say for post requests to my project endpoint, well, I want to make sure that they're logged in, and I want to add the logged in user to the request. And then finally, I'm going to let Bookshelf API handle the rest of the insertion of that stuff. So let's see if it works. Did I register? I think I did. Yeah. So I'm going to use Postman here to make a post request. I think I've got it set up all right. So I'm going to make a post request to that API endpoint. I'm going to give it a name and a URL. I'm not going to give it a user ID because the server should handle that now. it's gonna take that add user middleware, it's gonna sneak in the user ID before the record gets created. If I click send there, oh, I must be logged in to perform that action. All right, working against myself here. All right, let's log in. So I'm gonna go to localhost 3000, log in. Oh, I forgot what I just register again. There we go. All right, so now I'm logged in. I click send, and it gives me back that project that I had created. So I get the name, the URL, the user ID, which is number 2. That's the user I'm logged in with, and the timestamps for that new record. So that's a quick example. There are some other cool things. Because we've associated this record with the user, we can actually request the user back with the record too. So I can say, I want to get a project, all of my projects, and with my related user, or not.
The with
I was
misspelled.
Oh, thank you. With related user. And now it's going to pull back my...
So I might have missed that. Is that associated with the database net connects, that with related?
The with related is part of connects. It's
Okay.
also part of Bookshelf API. So Bookshelf API is what takes your request and then basically formats it correctly to grab that stuff from the database for you. So you can then pull in related data. Cool. All right. So the last thing I think I wanted to show here was a little bit of the front end tool chain. So for me, when I was first getting into doing development with ES6, learning React and JSX, I spent probably like 2 straight weeks of like trying to get my tool chain working the way I wanted it to. And now you've got things like Create React App and Webpack, and it's easier, but it's not something that you should really have to do for a new project. And so with Perk, you can use either Webpack or Browserify for managing your requires on the front end. And it comes built in with Sass compilation as well. I'd like to add less at some point as well. So if anyone knows less and wants to do a PR, it'd be much appreciated. So I've got this public directory here with scripts, and it's got a JavaScript file. And so I think I've got React already installed. So let's say React equals require React. This will also work with ES6 imports, so you can choose whichever flavor you prefer. Let's get React DOM. We'll start with that. And I'll say so I'm going to create a React component here. Again, I'm using like the old ES5 syntax for this because I kind of like it better. But you can use ES6 as well. So I'm just going to define some JSX here. And let's say form. And it'll have input. So we'll have a spot for the project name, and we'll have a spot for the URL. And finally, I'll render that to the DOM. Is everyone familiar with React, or any questions about what is going on here? Anyone not used React or seen it before?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not really concerned.
Okay. I'll give a quick, so basically we're defining a component here, and this is the JSX or HTML that defines this component. Then I'm taking that component and I'm rendering it into an element called app. So app needs to already exist on the page. So I'm going to go into my view here, my index view, and I'm just going to create an empty div with an ID of app, so it has a place to put this component. And I will go to my home page, and that's going to render that component for me. And so what's actually gone on behind the scenes here is, as you're modifying both your backend and your front end assets, Perk is watching for changes. The dev server is watching for changes. It's going to restart anytime there's a change, and it's going to recompile your JavaScript every time there's a change, so that your ES6 gets transpiled to ES5 and your JSX gets transpiled as well. So you can see here, there's this bundle file, which is basically all of the JavaScript that's getting used on the page. Not minified, but when I deploy this, it'll automatically minify all that stuff. Any questions? Anything you want to see?
You show the site, just
Show.
the perkframework.com.
Yeah.
Just create a standard.
So this
Give us
is
a tour.
This is the website. And so, like I said, it's broken down into kind of like 3 sections of documentation. There are guides, the API docs, and common errors.
Is the Perk site written in Perk?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Because,
Dog food.
so at some point, I'm going to add search
Everybody
to
walk
it.
out now.
It's just a static site, though, so it doesn't really need any of that. But at some point, I'm going to add search, and then I'll convert it over to Perk. Question?
Actually, I was wondering, with this framework, do you have, is there documentation or ways to like plug it into something like AWS? Like, is that a fairly straightforward process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is a guide, and I can show you that right now, actually. There's a guide on deploying your apps to Heroku. And for AWS, it's a little bit more complicated, but I have somebody who is working on writing a guide for Docker. I've never used Docker before, but they're going to put together a Docker file and some support for Docker. So that should make it easier to deploy to other systems. But right now, Heroku is actually super easy. That was one of my gripes with a lot of the other Node frameworks that I use. Is like it's kind of a struggle, especially with sales, to deploy to Heroku. So if I git init and git add, I just create a Git repo here and then kind of blindly follow these steps. I can create a new Heroku app, and I need to set up Redis and Postgres, so my database and my session management. And so that's what these 2 lines are doing here. First, I'm going to set up Redis, and then I'm going to set up, I'll wait for that to go, Postgres.
What are you using Redis for?
Redis is for the session management, for the user session management. And then I need to specify some of the configuration information that I would have specified in that config file. So my session secret, I'll make up a new one. And I'm going to set my environment to Heroku, so it knows which configuration to use, which configuration file to use. And then I can push it to Heroku, and that should deploy it. So yeah, I don't use Heroku for the apps that I run Perk on. I use DigitalOcean, so it's definitely doable. If you It doesn't really help you with any of the sysadmin type stuff for the project, but it will make it super easy for services like Heroku.
Right, so if I was just making an app for myself, that would be pretty easy, but if I wanted to use this for a client, like I'm a bit new to host, like cloud
Okay,
hosting.
yeah.
I set one client up on AWS.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, like, what?
Yeah. So the same process that you would use to set your client up on AWS, you would need to install Node and Postgres and Redis on your server, on your AWS server.
Right, get a Node.js server.
Yep.
So sure.
Yep. And then you
Yeah.
could use Git to check out your project, and I don't know if you use like Nginx in front of it or whatever, but yeah, it'll run, and I can show you. So, oops. If I type npm run dev, that runs my development server, which will watch for changes and does a lot of extra stuff. But if I'm running in this in production, I just do npm start, start, and that'll boot up the server in like bare bones mode for production use.
Awesome, thank you.
What are the 5 videos that are available?
So I'm working on a video series on building like a LinkedIn clone with Perk. And so the videos up there they're super short, they're about 10 minutes each, and they go through, topics in order of the process for trying to build a LinkedIn clone. So the first one kind of goes through what I went through today. There's one on database migrations, modifying views. So the modifying views is not really a Perk thing, that's an Express thing. And database migrations, that's not really a Perk thing, that's a Next thing. Setting up the API, so we kind of went through a crash course in a lot of this, and so that's a work in progress.
Cool.
Going through those videos. Let's see. So sometimes Heroku takes a little while to boot up the Redis instance, but it looks like it worked. So this is online now. And if we take a look here, you can see that my CSS and my bundle now is minified. So it's like pulling out all of the comments and all of the unnecessary stuff that you don't need. So it does some of that stuff for you. It won't do it for images quite yet, but that is on the agenda.
For your GitHub project for Perk, do you have issues there written for requests for?
I do, yeah. Has anyone heard of Hacktober? It's this really cool project that DigitalOcean is putting on, and basically they're giving away a really cool designed Hacktoberfest t-shirt if you submit 4 PRs to open source projects. And so like I added the Hacktoberfest label to all of my issues, and like people are going nuts. It's awesome. I've had 6 PRs that I've merged in already this month, so that's super cool. A lot of them are really small, but I've got some bigger ones that people are working on as well. So that kind of brings me to my last slide here, which is what's next. So if you're at all interested, definitely check out the video series, or I do like an open source Perk hack session, although if you're interested in open source at all in general and you don't want to work on Perk but you want to work on something else, I do those every like week or two with some of my former students. So we've got a Perk Slack channel, and I'm happy to invite you to that, and you're more than welcome to come to the open source stuff, and we just kind of work on whatever. And definitely looking for help. So if you have some sort of expertise and there's something that you think could make Perk better, I am more than willing and very happy to have your help and work on PR. So with that, thanks for having me. I had a really good time.
Before everybody leaves, we have the prizes to give out, but there's not that many of us here, so is everybody cool if I ask y'all to come up here and we'll take like a giant group picture? I'm looking for another main stack meetup cover page picture. Are y'all Monico with that, or everybody good with that?
Yeah. We're gonna be
I have
mean
to-
stuff celebrities.
Yeah, I have to ask because a lot of people don't like to have their picture taken, so respect that.
Can we put the shirts on?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Oh, you were.
No, kinda.
So let me set this up real quick, and then if anybody wants to go out shirt, put it on, feel free, but. I don't know, you teased me before about always taking pictures.
Your own
Those are the
photographer.
Pretty rude too.
Hey, we get my wife.
Yeah.
I was just, I have very basic.
Yeah, cool. Well,
we
the video series is definitely designed for people who are just getting into node development specifically. It's like, it assumes like a certain level of like previous programming experience.
I mean, I'll take a picture if I get a shirt on, with a lot of projects, like project builders, like, if it's not gonna get me onto a server before a client,
Right,
like.
exactly.
why-
That's not
why
why
bother?
that-
Like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
like,
I just got
Right.
done
But I
by
can
throwing
spend
away
all
like
this
those
server
unnecessary
gold
shirts.
30 seconds.
Right.
So really, you know, that's the thing, like, so
Yeah,
I think it's really cool.
As long as
Yeah,
we're,
and
Like
if
you're
you're-
recording it directly.
Yeah, if you're interested, I would love to learn how you do some of that stuff with spinning up the servers, because I'd love to be able to have like, you know, NPM deployed.
I'm gonna put everybody's
deployed to
Got it.
AWS or not.
Yeah, I'll get you my contact.
Yeah.
You wanna do it? You don't have to. You don't have to.
It's okay, I got a bad back, I don't wanna get up any more than I have.
Yeah, let me get it from you.
So I think,
Need your help too. I thought I knew.
squeeze in more of that.
That much?
I don't want to
After that. What? Oh, sorry. Stand.
There we go. It's wobbly.
So where am I running to? I guess I'll run between Amir and Jordan.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I don't wanna do
Are we,
this.
do we need to
I don't wanna
catch you or
squat
something,
down.
or
I'm wearing kind of-
like a
I
rusty
can
cable?
squat
Put your arms out. Put your arms.
Here, I'll go right here.
Hang on.
And I'm probably gonna.
I'm gonna try to.
You need to be up front, dude.
Short.
I'll squat.
I can squat if you want.
I'll just squat a little bit. And then,
4,
quadrant killing
3,
Are we in it?
2.
and then everybody hold on.
Oh.
Let me do another one real quick.
So I putting my hand on your face? I'm just
No,
so
you're good.
confused.
You're good.
Put it on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
I feel like I should.
Am I getting bunny ears? I can't see this
now
far.
you push the
Oh, did I not push the button?
Oh, you did push the
No,
button.
it's even right
I really wanna know what that was. I still don't know what that was. There it is.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Queijo.
There we go. Perfect.
All right, cool. So let's everybody grab a ticket and all right, man. Okay. All right. And you guys give me.
Oh. Yeah, what's
Yeah,
that?
these
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's $5 gift cards on those things.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
So there's
There's cash in there, guys.
Yeah. Oh, are we supposed to grab a ticket?
Yes. Grab a
Okay.
ticket for me here. Yeah.
Thank God. Thank you.
Who needs a ticket? Go. Aaron, where are you at?
I'm right here.
All right. Did you actually
I won once before, I feel bad.
Did you? All right. Well,
Yeah.
Aaron's gonna pick these up. All right. First one. Actually, I'm gonna give you all a choice. How many cards do you have in here, Jordan? Did you say there's
Oh,
cards?
they're inside. They're all inside the mugs.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Try to squeeze them in there.
So pick the first one and then just call out like the last four.
Okay, last four, 8194.
There we go. Come and select one of these nice mugs.
Get a prize.
You get him out of
Oh, awesome.
Next winner?
Alright, next winner is 8192.
8192? Alright, come on down. Pick one number. I think there should be a card in there too, so get a card.
Okay.
Mug and
So
cash.
do you work remote or what?
Yeah.
Next,
Next winner?
Yeah, I just started about Walmart last night.
8193.
And decided. Next winner, two more.
Yeah. So.
8188.
So close.
8188. Anybody?
Is that me?
How could we not have someone? Is it you, Monico?
We added
No,
some
I-
dummy ones in here.
Let's try another one. Let's try another
Someone get the ticket, but they're too afraid to come.
This one is ripped off. It's I don't know.
748191
Something.
That yours?
7481. You had
Yeah,
to say
that
more
was-
numbers than there are on the card. I was like, wait.
And last
Alright,
one.
last but not least, 8189.
Yay! Wait, no, what was that?
8189.
89, yeah.
Thank you, Rook Source, for those nice mugs and gift cards and stuff. So. Yeah, definitely. So. Did you want to take
No, I don't want it.
So I guess that's it. Everybody, like I said, look out for the next meetup. We're gonna have them. We're gonna start having them at HomeAway at the domain. So looking forward to that.
Yay!
Thanks again.
Short commute for some
Look forward to it. Y'all have a good night. Drive safely.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks.
That was very good.
Yeah, good, good. I'm glad you're
I took a look at the document.
Cool. Good, great.
So I basically just mirrored
Mine
these two of
stickers?
them. So any
Okay. Okay, I'll send you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Sales, like rails,
They're
remember?
aggressive.
Monica gave me some of the fuel for you guys, but I was curious. How do your contracts set up? Like, I'm curious. I'm working for a contract through Ronstadt Sticks, and like my contract is set up where essentially if I
Thank you.
I get no overtime or anything like that, where essentially if I just take if I bill 40 hours a week or nothing at all. Like if I work at any time during the week, I bill 40 hours for the week. So I was just curious. It sounded like it wasn't. Felt like when I talked to him about how their contract was set up, it was a little more basically hourly.
Oh, no.
Pretty much is how it is. You really get paid for every hour that you work. So overtime, you work as much overtime as you want.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to take vacation or something, you won't get paid for that. But
Yeah, that's because like I don't know. This is my first contracting gig that I'm doing, and it was a very strange sort of dynamic of how they were setting it up, and it didn't really bug me. It's just sort of
it's just interesting to hear different perspectives.
yeah, like I said, I didn't really have any real sense. I didn't shop around for a contract. I got the job, and they said they just gave me a contract.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do. I mean, we offer paid holidays too,
So he
and
did
stuff
move
as
back
well.
to
I'm sure you
Wisconsin?
have too.
Oh, he did. And
I mean,
then
essentially, it just feels like I don't really have any holidays. I just work when I work, and if I don't work any, like my boss is kind of cool. Like if you don't work Thursday, Friday, well, whatever. You don't work Thursday, Friday. You still bill the entire week. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's like all or nothing kind of deal the way I do my billing.
Yeah, we have the 6 like paid legal holidays, so we have like New Year's Day, Christmas Day, Independence Day, so that's when you need like a paid holiday.
Yeah, like I feel like the way the general flow of my contract is, it's just they don't really pay much attention to any of the holidays. I work or I don't.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so, I mean, we're pretty small, we're a little bit more like hands-on with like obviously like Monico and like other, you know, we have 2 people on his team that we work really closely with, and we go to lunch every now and then, just kind of network off of each other.
yeah.
Well, I did the soft touch interview. I wasn't really interviewing. I just wanted to get the breakdown.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I mean, we're fairly new to like the Austin market itself, so I mean, we've only been here for a year and a half.
Year and a half, almost 2 years now. How are you liking your gig?
So
I like it. I mean, be 100% remote. So
That's awesome.
I mean, I roll out of bed and I'm at work.
Did you say you were?
I work for Walmart Labs. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So where are you?
Cool. That's awesome. Working remote. You like that?
Yeah, I mean it's my first remote, like first contracting gig and remote gig. Like basically, I worked at PayPal before this. So, I don't know, it came around. It sounded like an interesting opportunity to try it out. And I really like the remote work. That's sort of, I think it all depends on your kind of lifestyle or where you are in your own life.
Yeah, keep yourself in line.
Yeah, like I think if I'm in my younger 20s or something, I would have been more like, would have liked to go in the office and have that kind of interaction with everyone. And now I'm kind of starting a family and like young children, so it's better to have free time to be at home.
I can take a step away. That's fine. I mean,
And the other thing is it kind of kills the whole commute. So like, if dinner's at 5, I can work up till 4:55, and I'm there. I don't have to like try to stop it sometime, drive half an hour.
money you're saving too.
Yeah.
It's pretty slow.
Where did you get out of here?
Stuff about Perk and Aaron.
Oh, wait, just leaving.
What's going on?
Valerie.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's up?
Valerie, what's up?
Hi. I recognize you
going
too.
Did you move here yet?
I know, we have the
Okay.
shirts. What's going
Very
on?
fancy. How are you?
Good to see
I'm
you.
good.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
I had a reminder on my calendar to like
Great to meet you.
reach out to you like this week, so I was going to. So this is perfect.
Yeah, here I am.
So how's the job search?
It's okay. I officially moved to Austin, so no more back and forth. Like, it's working.
You're officially moved.
Yeah.
Got all your junk here.
Cats are here. Like, I'm here.
Life is here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's half free.
Yeah, I need to get them groomed. Do you know cat groomers?
Do you know any cat rooms off the top of your head?
But yeah, it's been okay. I've been getting like a few interviews here and there.
Yeah, we have
Cool.
last guy that we hired.
Yeah, it's we still have the same opening with EXO, so
Really?
Yeah.
Still or
it's like kind of evolved, and now it's a very senior,
Oh.
like
Yeah.
I
They ended
don't.
up filling their junior and like mid-level spots.
Oh.
And they had one more that's just
the
senior.
senior role. Yeah. Those are always the hardest.
Those are tough.
There's not many people
I know.
in demand.
Hence one of the reasons why I'm here right now.
Yeah. Did you get any
What's
good
your name? Chris.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah. This guy's a blog too.
She just came from another Node meetup.
Did you get Amir's?
Yeah.
There was a big.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here. He's here. I have his card. Looks like he had a good blog. Okay, I don't know what this stuff like.
What did you think of the talk by the guy?
I thought it was good. Actually, I think I've seen it before. He was at Tulsa, and I actually saw the same thing.
Remember this name and find his blog.
Amir.
Yes.
Yeah. The president.
Wait, who's that?
I don't know. He just sounded legit to me. He works remote for a company out of New York on this like education master's program website where all these universities use it, and it sounds pretty cool. So I was just gonna have him on LinkedIn and stuff. But I'm gonna say goodbye to Monico.
So what are you guys up to?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Came from
Yeah, I definitely want
the Node.js meetup. Is that what it
Node.js
was?
meetup.
Node.js ATX. Was that in here?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it's in the same building where Charles Schwab is at.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I know. I talked
Oh, very cool.
Were there a lot of people here tonight?
Probably about 10,
There
12.
was big turnout.
Really? Go get some pizza.
Yeah, I was great. I don't know if you noticed.
Get some za.
Oh, which pizza did you have?
We have the Eastside Pies right there.
Oh, Eastside Pies is so good.
Yeah.
Eastside Pies is awesome. I've had that place. I've had that a few times. One of my favorite pizza, I have to say, is Pine House Pizza. Have you had it? Which one? Pine House.
Yeah.
There's one on Southmore in like Ben White, and then up on Burn.
Yeah, Patrick's off the board.
Try that. Try Pine House Pizza. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed.
I think Eastside Pies is the best.
Eastside Pies is your favorite?
There's no
Okay.
That's
better
the one
pizza.
that was there, right?
Yeah, that stuff is good. Do you guys like Home Slice?
I've tried home slice, but like I think
It's whatever.
I think Eastside Pies is better.
Eastside Pies? Yeah. It's classic.
It's more kind of like
I think
juicy or
we'll be
whatever.
around
Yeah, I hear you.
Thursday, Friday delivering.
Yeah, we'll come.
So,
Come say what's up to Ian.
yeah, we'll see.
Grace
These
Hopper.
are the t-shirts right there. Yeah, you know when we see t-shirts, he was saying something about, I think you had his check last week.
Oh, that was me.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah.
And you waited for like an hour or something?
No,
Oh.
no, it was
And I
like
told them, they
10
should
minutes.
just come in because we already sit, yeah.
I don't even see where you sit.
So, you know where the receptionist is?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate
That
that.
door that's by the elevators,
I know.
you walk in and you get straight into the area there.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Very, okay.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
sitting
it
down
is
on a small table,
exactly-
so you
that's
can't
how
see me, but if you peek over, you're tall enough, you'll be able to see me.
You see right there.
And Julia and Ian, they typically, there's another desk that's next to mine, that one goes up, so they're typically standing or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the front desk was so confused. I'm like, I'm here to drop a check, and she's like, I'm like, he's white. I'm like, I'll just wait right here.
I'll just sit down.
I'm like, okay.
Or you can text me.
Yeah, and you just come grab it.
He had responded that he knows on my way. It's really not a big deal.
We were in
He's
the
so
middle of
nice.
working hard on
Just
something.
so
He's like,
working
"Oh,
hard.
that's
Plus
high
our
priority
tails.
bug. And I'm like, fine, do your job. Please do your job.
Yeah.
That's what you're here for. So, cool. We're gonna head out. See you guys
Good
later.
stuff. All
I
right.
really
Cheers.
like
Thanks,
that.
man.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So most of the devs all over at the area.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there's one there.
You got it.
HQ over here by, again, by Whole Foods. I think we have some devs there, but not as much as we do over here. At the domain, we're like overflowing for bus space.
Every time I go and get like, I get the newsletter
Yes.
with the job.
I have 2 on Sunday,
I came in finding it, so it's
Saturday.
like, once I get past all the home wage jobs, sometimes there's something about it.
Yeah,
Because
they're hiring
on
like
one,
crazy,
he took the
especially
guy,
like,
"Oh, I'm not doing it." Just
I
wasn't
just
thinking
built
of
out
it.
on the second floor this UX design studio.
He thinks, "Oh,
Designers, but they want designers that are able to use JavaScript, like really good at it.
And they're easy.
That's what they're hiring. But in our area, we're hiring Node.js developers, JavaScript, and I guess React.
Well, they mainly use Java, like, I was interviewing with them and I asked them, well, what are they using, and they said they were only using Java. How did you get to Node.js?
So the very back end side of things, a lot of the old services, it's legacy Java.
But the best part.
So they have a ton of things that are in Java right now. That's not in my department, but yeah, a lot of that stuff is in
So
Java.
in your department, it's all just Node?
Mhm. Yeah, we're part of the core UI team, which is like 100 plus people, and it's on Node. So,
Cool.
yeah.
So is it all contractors, or do they have some internal?
Most everybody except for, I would say like 10-ish are contractors. So
So
like,
only 10?
I know.
like all of my team, which is 4 people total,
Is
we're all
what I call them.
contractors.
And,
So,
uh,
And then
they're,
from that
spicy
project, we might
pies.
move to another project, but all the other teams that
Oh,
I
yeah.
know of, they're all
They're
permanent
hilarious.
placements.
But when I talked to like the recruiters or whatever, like they never said that they do any sort of Node. It was all like Java and Java.
That,
I think like I spoke like with some employees and they mentioned that they were kind of like interested in Scala. And when I spoke like with the actual people like the recruiters or whatever, they said they still like Java.
oh, really? Huh, yeah, I mean, that team is definitely, I could see them saying that they're on Java, but because for their core team, which is a services layer, it's all Java. So maybe that's why they said. When was this? When did you ask me?
Oh, just like last week.
Oh, really? Yeah. Before, like 2 or 3 years ago, it was all Java. And I think they actually used Ruby on Rails for a while there, but
I met the sweetest cat. I was visiting a friend.
So you work in the domain or if you're in
And she was
the?
I'm actually
living
domain.
in this place and they
Yeah.
have this
The
cat
headquarters,
who's,
like I was
still
telling you,
a
like, I think
kitten.
we have some
And
developers
he
here, but I'm not
like
sure.
wanted to crawl up and like suck on your ear. And
So
like
do
that
you
was
use
a
a
weird
tourist
fetish.
for like,
It's so it was like the weirdest
Everything.
feeling and also so.
The nice thing is, though, if you ever wanna, like, if I wanna go to the HQ building,
No.
or like the SEO guys are there, they have a shuttle that goes like 4 or 5 times a day. It'll bus you back and forth between the two stations. And they have like Wi-Fi and stuff. They have a lot nice perks.
Yeah, don't they have the, you was telling me that you take the home and do like a trip or a free listing somewhere.
If you're a permanent, yeah, I think so. That's what I've heard. I'm a contractor. What's up, Mallory?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Did you come from the Node.js one?
Yeah.
I figured, yeah, because they had the
That one
same.
was really full.
Was it?
There were like over 40 people
Yeah, there's
there.
a lot of people on that list now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, their clientele list is like
It always is.
2,000, I think, 2,000
For
members.
Node.js, APT,
Somebody else used to run it, and then Mike McNeil, the guy that created Sales, and Earl, and all
But it's
those
also
guys.
funny like how
Is
the
that the guy
crowd.
with the gray hair, like the?
He has really short
longish?
hair. He always hangs out with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
they came in late. They came in just like kind of like mid presentation.
He's the guy that
And
created
they were
Sales.
sitting like at the end.
But his company, Dash, and the spin-off company, Treeline, I think is what it's called, they're the ones that took over the Node.js. But somebody like left it.
Yeah,
Just hanging.
recently?
No, this was like a year ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then so they took it over, and that clientele list was like 2,000 members. So
I mean,
they had like in the hundreds that responded.
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny, like how
Yeah.
the people like
Yeah,
really
it's
Trying to go
really-
live last minute, so it's just.
Yeah.
But I think you can go, you can just go.
Yeah, you can just show.
Oh,
Everyone says they're gonna come, but probably like half comes.
That's
Yeah.
that's what Earl was. He was frustrated with. He asked me, "How do you do this?" Because when I first started, I had like some pretty heavy hitters like Super Car from Strong Loop, and Mike did one of them, like Neil and stuff. So I was getting like hundreds of responses, and like half of them showed
Yeah,
up.
so that's been my.
Do you promise pizza?
I always do. Yeah, I've always had food, drinks.
Well, it's not that you have it. You have to promise it and let it happen. Because like if you forget to promise it, then people don't know if it's gonna be there or not, right? So they
I
like
promise
might not-
there's pizza.
Yeah.
So you have to promise it, then you have to deliver.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always have sponsors. There's a ton of people that always want to sponsor the meetup. So
That's nice.
yeah.
That's a good problem.
Yep.
Yeah, I was in San Antonio for a couple of months, and like they had so many meetups without any sponsors, without any food.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and they sometimes I think like I mean Austin has like more meetups, and like I think like there wasn't basically like any single meetup that I went to that didn't have like pizza or something like that.
It's almost expected now.
Right. Yeah.
So you go to a meetup here
Almost
in
all
town.
of them do.
Huh?
Almost all of them have.
Yeah.
Have sponsored food trucks.
Sales have skyrocketed.
Well, definitely downtown. Some of the ones in North Austin.
I went to one at Rackspace yesterday, and they had not just pizza, they had like Rudy's, they had like barbecue.
Really?
And I'm like a vegetarian, and they didn't have like they had like the beans thing. It already has meat in it.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have like the cream corn, so I had to have like the cream corn and the potato salad.
Yeah.
At least I'm not vegan, because if I was vegan, then
Yeah,
Brad,
then you can
Brad, Brad would have been the only
Yeah,
thing that was
well,
available.
there's yard and lard and all these.
So how's your thing? Your search going? Is it?
It's okay.
So you just moved in to Austin?
Yeah, I just moved, I like officially moved.
I think I saw you like a couple weeks ago, and you said yesterday I just moved in.
Yeah. Yes, I saw you like the day after, and I was probably like, oh, I'm so tired. So yeah, so it's better that I'm like officially here, but it's a long road. It's difficult. That first job is like just so hard to get, but
Right.
at least I know that once that happens, things
But
are easy.
you have a Grasshopper Academy diploma, right?
Yeah.
And then besides that, did you have like an undergrad or anything, or? Was
Yeah, my undergrad was at Cornell, but it was in economics, so.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Economics is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah. No software development, but.
There's a lot of devs,
Yeah.
software developers that are like liberal arts.
Yeah, I was in a liberal arts school, so.
I think one of my classmates, he had a major that was econophysics.
Oh, that's fancy.
Econophysics?
Sounds like he made that up.
It was a real major. He was like from Germany, and apparently like in that school from where he was an exchange student in Germany, he was like an official major, econophysics. I'm like, what?
That sounds
Cool,
good. Yeah.
why not?
Did y'all get some stickers?
Yes, I searched through them all.
T-shirts? Did I run out of shirts already? I've been trying to get rid
I
of them
think
for like
there's that
months.
one, but I don't.
I think it was around L.
Might be small.
No, it's large.
Oh, is it really?
Large, I checked.
You can try to wash it
You
and then
shrink
try
it.
to
It's
try
okay.
to dry it for
I'll
like
wait for
20 hours.
Yeah, I think they are cotton, so if you wash it and then dry it, it'll shrink a little bit.
Will it? Yeah, probably like so much. I'll leave it for someone who maybe fits into a large.
Are any of y'all going to Node Interactive?
What is that? Is
That's
that a
it's a conference. It's going to be here in town, and it's the week right after Thanksgiving in November.
Oh, like the last.
There's so many conferences here.
I haven't seen it, but
Yeah, you just go to NodeJS.org and they have it at the bottom right.
Are they gonna have events like surrounding, like after?
Monday, you should probably find out because it'd be good for you, I think.
Yeah.
There's a NodeTogether.org.
Node together.
It's like a day-long class. in
Oh
Node.js.
yeah, you mentioned this last time, and I like couldn't write it down fast enough.
Yeah. I'm helping with the
You have to pay
organization.
for it, or is it?
It's free.
The Node together part.
Node Together.
What date is it? Is it in November?
November 28th. It's right before the conference, the Monday before. So.
It's gonna be here. I already reserved this room
Oh.
for
Is
Ashley.
he gonna be teaching?
Python has much
What?
more.
You're gonna be teaching it, or who?
No, Ashley Williams,
Object-oriented
she's one of the
programming is much
community
bigger
members
part
in
of
the
Python
NodeJS
than
Foundation.
JavaScript.
She's gonna be
Much
teaching
more
it.
standard there.
She travels the world right now,
And I wouldn't
she's
be-
teaching that class.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
So yeah, or do the.
But I
Wait, so who's
help
the sponsor?
Do like,
Who's
the
what?
sponsor? Who's the sponsor of it?
Udemy course on
Node Foundation.
like that.
And it's
Okay.
all,
And
an
maybe
all
not
day
even that
workshop.
much, just read
It's
a
an all-day
tutorial
workshop
on
in here.
Python.
It's gonna be
All the
sponsored.
world in
Food and drinks are
Python,
gonna be
like,
by
learn
Home Away,
syntax a little
the company
bit.
that I'm
It
at.
could be good
Yeah.
as like
So,
a comparison to
yeah,
JavaScript.
coffee in the morning and
started
like
to
pastries
learn
and lunch.
Mhm.
So it's 20. I cannot find any information on the website. Node Together.
So the Node Together is separate from the conference, but it's Node Together, all one word,
Yeah.
.org.
So I found it. It says October, Washington D.C., and there's nothing afterwards.
Yeah, the one that's gonna be here in town is not published yet.
Ooh,
Okay.
got insider
That's
information.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be 20th November
28th.
or 28th.
You have to register for it, I assume, right?
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's only
that's
like,
Monday, right?
That's a Monday, right? There's only like 30 to 40 spots.
Do you know when the registration's gonna open?
Yeah, that's up to them.
Yeah.
I tried to submit some PRs and
Or
stuff.
if you go and
like
review
that,
Backbone,
some issue
that's
questions and stuff, and they're just so busy right now that they
So
can't.
funny. I typed like in the thing Node Together, and I put the spaces in it. It says Node space 2 space gap space.
Did you get the Jordan's card? Oh, you did. Okay.
Oh, you had some drawing?
Yeah, so Brooksource, who's the company that I work for right now, they sponsored tonight with gifts, door prizes. Some gift cards and some Starbucks mugs.
Who brought all the stickers? You brought all the stickers?
Yeah,
Where do you get all these stickers from?
all the sponsors that I've had in the past.
So many.
GitHub, Strongloop,
Yeah.
Mike and Geo Sales, and then like from Ostron, PayPal, a bunch of them. So. Take as many as you want.
I love all the little,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, what is it
There's
called?
even a patch.
Octocat?
Yeah.
Octocat, yeah.
A patch. Oh, for Heroku.
That.
Oh, I didn't see this one. So cute.
Oh.
They're so creative.
That's GitHub, alright.
No, every time I
No.
put
Like
it
a
on,
fancy guy.
I'm like, man, I should have put a different one.
You can always peel it off,
Oh, I
right?
can't do that.
Oh, that's against the rules.
I just gotta
No
find,
peeling off.
I just gotta find something else to put it on.
Get another computer, an add-on to put more stickers.
What's against the rules?
Just peeling off a sticker.
Off of your computer?
Maybe I'll start, just put them on the back of my desktop monitor.
I'm gonna have GitLab.
That's what Brian, the guy that runs the Bleeding Edge meetup. Have you seen his computer? It's like layers,
I've
layers,
seen
and
them.
layers of
Really?
Yeah,
stickers.
I'll just stack them up.
Kind of like when people just keep layering on like wallpaper. They just put it over.
I think at one point it adds like extra weight to your computer, doesn't it?
Probably does. For his, it does. I'm sure.
This one's so hard to see. I thought it was
Oh, yeah.
blank, but
Oh, what
but
is
it would
it?
modular. But it would look cool on your computer.
Cool. Well, if you have a black one.
There you go. What's this? Oh, what is this for? Oh, Docker. Is that Docker?
Oh, that's Docker.
I was like, why is there a whale?
It's probably Docker's
That one's
third
real random.
birthday.
Yeah, that's the third birthday one.
Oh, that's sweet.
I didn't
That was
know
a
if
couple-
anybody
or
was
like a year
watching.
ago,
It was
I
like
think.
kinda last
Well,
motivation,
so
but
No,
everybody watching.
There, well, and then I put a little comment and then went to the thing and I.
The GitLab ones are neat.
No, I know, myself, like, that's so like, I will never put it on.
Where'd you move from?
But,
New York / Oklahoma. I was in New York City for like 7 years, and then from Oklahoma, so I was in Oklahoma for a
Brought you to
few months.
Austin?
I was tired of New York, but when it's still like a big city with stuff going on, and wanted to be closer to family, so Austin fits the bill.
It's
It's really good. I like it much better than New York. Yeah,
Never been to New York.
it's okay. I mean, it's fun to visit.
I'm gonna go sometime eventually.
Yeah, you should. It's definitely a very fun place to visit, and maybe live for a little while, but it's not like a really long time.
So you're looking for a job?
Yeah, I am. I'm one of the boot camp
people.
From which one?
It was a New York one. It's called Grace Hopper Academy. It's associated with this one called Full Stack Academy that's a bit more established.
Yeah, I've heard full stack.
Yeah. Grace Hopper's the same one. It's
What was
just
y'all's,
women.
program?
It was a C stack, SQL, Express, Angular, and Node. But yeah, that's good. Now I just gotta find a job. Then the journey will be complete.
Any luck?
No, not yet. It's
Any
hard.
interviews?
I've gotten interviews, yeah.
In person or just?
Yeah.
Yeah?
A couple in person.
How'd they go?
I think they could have gone better. Interviews are tough. Those like technical interviews are, no other industry is like that, and it's tough thing to get used to. So I think I just need to keep practicing.
Makers for boot camp.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
This year?
Yeah.
And you already have a job?
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you? I met some guy from Maker Square. I think he graduated in April, but I am not going to remember his name. Obviously, we must have been in the same class. He works for something analytics. Clutch? Do you know? Are there multiple ones that went there?
There's about 15 that work at Clutch.
Really? Holy cow. Okay, well,
I think they hire a few every cohort.
That's nice. Yeah, he was the one who went to it.
Actually, just well, actually 3 out of my class.
He went to Clutch. He also went to Cornell. Does that narrow it down?
Sure, thank you.
He's like taller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you end up getting a job through like your hiring day?
Some of the other
No,
Node stuff that's
just
going
applying.
on.
Just through applying and an actual like a job
So you said they're looking
application.
for volunteers
You heard back
for
and
something.
like.
Yeah, well, Clutch was one of our hiring partners.
Okay.
I did an interview with them,
Then,
but they ended up hiring
Okay, cool.
some other guys. It seemed like they were going with all the people they hired all had engineering degrees.
Yeah,
or
that guy was an
degrees.
engineer.
So
He was like a chemical engineer. or
Thank you.
yeah, and I didn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason I didn't get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I applied just every single one I'm interested in, pretty much on Indeed, and did
Okay.
probably like 20. I think I did like 120 applications.
Wow. Through Indeed. Okay.
Not just to Indeed, but to
But, like,
Indeed, Dice,
Similar.
No, I think
LinkedIn, Glassdoor even.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
most of them are all the same jobs.
That's interesting to hear that you got a job through like an application because all the applications I've sent in, like I haven't heard a peep from them.
I just every couple days I only apply to new jobs that are posted within the same day.
Yeah.
I don't apply to anything that's
Because they're
older than a few
probably
days.
dead, right?
All the ones I applied to that were older, I never got replies back.
Okay, that's good to know.
But yeah, I mean it was tough, but
You made it the other side.
all my interviews went really good. I was
Ugh.
surprised.
I think
I
I'm
was-
getting out of practice now, and then it's like a
Yeah.
slippery slope. I'll get back to
Alright,
it.
guys, we can keep hanging out if you want, but we just have to leave the room. Did anybody want? There's 2 whole pepperoni pizzas left.
I think we're both vegetarians.
Oh, are you vegetarian too?
Yeah. It's all you.
I'll take it.
Yeah, they're over there. So. Did
My
y'all come
girlfriend will be
together?
shocked.
Yeah, we were both at the Node one. And
Oh.
I've met
Yeah.
him at like 3 other meetups, and so I'm like, it's you again.
Oh,
So
yeah. So y'all drove over here? Oh, you walked over here, didn't
We
you?
walked, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, this is down the street or something.
Yeah. Nice stuff.
Yeah, it's on FIFA and Congress. It's on
Right,
FIFA and
right.
Congress, yeah.
By the Schwab? Yep. Yeah, I was there like a week or 2 weeks ago, I think, when I
Need
saw you.
any
when I-
help with it?
No, I'm good, I just sent this.
You don't have to clean up the drinks?
No, I mean, the bucket belongs to Capital Factory, so that stays, and I think if you leave any supplies, they'll just take them and use them for the other stuff. So. The pizzas, though, I don't think I can keep them. So if anybody wants, you can take one, right?
Yeah.
So,
You can just throw it all.
I think they have
You have
a kitchen
access
for
to
it. They're
this.
just
You
put
have
it in the
access to
kitchen.
this. Can you use my kitchen?
No,
They have a
I'll
kitchen,
just-
they have a kitchen too.
I'll take it from my girls.
Just gonna turn it on and eat something.
Yeah.
What was your name again?
It's Chris.
Chris and Mallory. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet a fellow.
Oh, you beautiful man.
CEOs come here, and usually I tend to bring relevant people to the meetings or to the lectures, and they talk about, fundraising or different topics every week, every Friday, but we don't attend them anymore just because I think they repeat.
Yes.
And we don't see value in it, because they're for early stage. So whenever I see something that's very relevant for us, we just come.
Yeah.
And
Friday, well, that's good.
yeah, so they do provide you with a lot of mentorship and like lessons that you have to learn. So
Yeah.
that's pretty neat.
Must have been so valuable for you, really.
Just learning
Very
the ins and outs of the funding process seems pretty, like foreign to most people.
Right.
Yeah.
And then President Obama was here.
Yeah.
Like Mark where he's
Oh, yeah.